Welcome to the 9th and final session in the Systematic Review Seminar Series. My name is Tom Harrod, and I'm the Associate Director for Reference, Instruction, and Access at the Himmelfarb Health Sciences Library at the George Washington University. The topic of this session will be writing a manuscript and getting published. Here you can see all of the topics that have been covered in this series prior to this session. Here's a rundown of what we'll be covering during this session. We'll briefly discuss Prisma, then look at some of the most common charts that are included in systematic reviews. And finally, we'll discuss some considerations when picking a journal. In one of the earlier videos in this series, I talked about Prisma. You may recall this was a checklist of items to consider when preparing a systematic review manuscript. At this point in the process, it would likely be helpful to look at the Prisma checklist to ensure that everything has been properly reported in your manuscript. In fact, many journals require systematic review authors to attach a completed Prisma checklist to their submission, indicating on which page of the manuscript each of the items has been addressed. The URL and a QR code for Prisma is shown on this screen. In the following slides, I'd like to review some of the common tables and charts that appear in published systematic reviews. The first of these is the Prisma flow diagram. The purpose of this, as discussed in a prior video, is to show the reader how many articles were initially identified in the literature searches and to show the subsequent fate of those articles. Creating one of these requires good record keeping. On this page, we see a summary table of included studies. This table is a presentation of all the data that the reviewers extracted in a tabular form, which allows readers of the systematic review to see the raw data that went into the final analyses of the systematic review. Here we see an example of a forest plot. This shows a numerical summation of the data from the included studies. Each included study is shown with a box representing the results of the studies, with lines on either side indicating the 95% confidence interval. The size of the box corresponds to the sample size or weight of that study. A diamond is shown beneath them, which indicates a composite value of all included studies, with each of the individual studies given a weight based on sample size, etc. The vertical line is null effect, and so you would look to see on what side of that line the diamond is to determine the overall odds ratio or relative risk. Here we see the results of a risk of bias assessment. We discussed this in more detail in a prior recording. This chart indicates the risk of bias that was present in the included studies across multiple domains, with those domains being reflective of the type of study being assessed. In this case, the use of the ROB2 tool for randomized control trials. And on this slide, we see a funnel plot. This is perhaps less common than ones discussed on prior slides. It is a graph which can indicate the likelihood of missing data, that is, publication bias. Each dot represents a unique study, and the idea is that both sides of the plot should be symmetrical if a significant number of studies have been done and there's no missing data. A gap, or an area of major asymmetry, may indicate that there is some significant amount of unpublished data. In terms of what you need to report, here are some things to consider. Number one, look at examples. Try to find published systematic reviews on topics related to yours in prestigious journals. What did they do well? What could have been done better? Working with a mentor or process expert can be valuable as well. One of the often underappreciated aspects in performing a systematic review is the value of methodology expertise. Given the way systematic reviews are done, it's important to have someone on the team who understands the process. Overall, it's important to stay centered on what you are trying to accomplish with your reporting. The goal is to be transparent and for what you report to be as reproducible as possible. Picking the right journal can be a difficult process, but when considering journals, here are several questions to keep in mind. Do they publish on your topic, and do they even publish systematic reviews? What is the quality of the journal within its field, and how well indexed is it? That is, how findable is the journal? Are they indexed in major article databases in your field? What are the journal's guidelines for submitting a manuscript? How do you properly prepare your manuscript for submission? Remember that this is another area where librarians can help. Don't hesitate to reach out for a consultation to get some ideas on how to approach this question. The library has a lot of tools available to help you answer these questions. In conclusion, during this session, we discussed how Prisma can help in the preparation of a manuscript. We also looked at a number of common charts which are often included in published systematic reviews, and we briefly discussed the issue of identifying a good journal for your manuscript. I'd like to share some concluding thoughts on the entire Systematic Review seminar series. Systematic reviews are time and labor intensive, but they represent the highest level of evidence. Performing one means following well-established and widely accepted protocols, and they employ methods which are meant to maximize transparency and reproducibility, and also to minimize the likelihood of the introduction of bias. There is a lot of help out there with many resources available to aid a systematic reviewer. Remember that systematic reviews are a team sport, so be sure to build your team early on. Also, please be mindful of other related types of publications, like scoping reviews, which may better match your project. And finally, work with a librarian. Librarians can provide expertise during several crucial steps in the process, making things much easier for you. Thank you so much for joining me. My email address is here, tph@gwu.edu. If you are a student or faculty member at George Washington University, please feel free to contact me for more information.